We're starting with breaking news just in. Several U.S. Servicemen wounded after an apparent insider attack by an Afghan soldier.
Officials tell CNN an Afghan soldier opened fire on troops in Mazar-e-Sharif in northern Afghanistan. U.S. Special Forces have been fighting alongside Afghan troops against ISIS there. 4 foreign soldiers were also wounded in the attack, and investigators from Afghanistan's Ministry of Defense are looking into the attack at this hour. This is the latest in the so-called green on blue insider attacks where Afghan soldiers ambush international service members. Just last week, 3 American soldiers were killed when an Afghan soldier opened fire on them in eastern Afghanistan. Another was injured. But again, several U.S. servicemen have been injured in this latest attack that we're bringing you the breaking news about today. No deaths have been confirmed.
On Friday, anger replaced the sense of shock. As the death toll rose, so did people's frustration. Several hundred angry residents marched to the local council offices. Dozens entered the building demanding meetings with council leaders. They were led by housing activists demanding those made homeless be rehoused locally.
I request all of us to remain put until we get a response we get a firm response from the council on their commitments.
They can't do anything.
But please keep calm. The people who have suffered, the victims of this tragedy, will want us to remain calm.
No! Justice! Justice for Grenfell! Justice for Grenfell! Justice for Grenfell! Justice for Grenfell!
Over the course of this demonstration, this march, we managed to speak to some very, very angry people.
How are we protecting people who get to go home to 6 bedrooms at night when there are people who have to sleep on the floor of community centres? How? They've lost everything and they're protecting these people.
We've been lied to for centuries, decades. It's not about now, it's about every minute that we've been lied to, that the government has been lying to us, covering stuff up. And we've had enough.
People are angry because there are no answers to the questions that people have been asking. We've had people killed as a result of negligence. Someone should be held accountable. It's corporate manslaughter. We have a government that's come down here, a prime minister that came to the scene of the crime and didn't even have the decency to meet the residents.
Where's the answers? Where's the people? Where's everyone that lived in those flats? Where's all the tenancy agreed? Where's the list of occupiers that lived in all those flats?
My name's Nadia and I was born and raised in this area. Yesterday, I heard what happened and I came down and I brought all my friends, people from all over the United Kingdom came, and we bought barrels and barrels of clothes, and we bought untold food and so much of everything. And I didn't want to watch the news because I didn't want to watch that my friends had died, so I didn't watch the news until I got back. After 15 hours of being on my feet, I came back for them to say that there were 17 people dead. Have you seen the building? There's more than 17 people dead. And then I thought, where are the missing people? Where's the list of the 500 people that live in that building? 600 people that live in their building? Where's the list on the news? The list on the news shows about 10 people or 15 people. Okay, let's just say they show 30 people. Where's the rest? Where's the rest of the 500 people? Why is everyone walking around with missing on their, where is everyone? Where are the victims? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it? We're packing boxes. We're sending food. To who? They've died. So what they need to do is they need to pack these boxes and they need to sell them, not send it to Oxfam or Red Cross, because Red Cross and Oxfam are not here helping us. This is the community that are helping us. So you're going to send all this stuff to Oxfam and Red Cross, and they don't deserve it. The people that deserve it are the people that died in that building because they wanted to make it look pretty, and it's an inferno. They burnt them. It was gone in 5 minutes. From 15 minutes it took to burn. Who's alive? Where are they? Where are the victims? I haven't met one. I've been here for 2 days. I live here. I haven't met one victim. I've met volunteers and I've met people that want to help, but I haven't met anybody. No victims. None of the people that I grew up with. I can't find anyone. Where are they?
Britain's Queen Elizabeth held a minute's silence at her birthday military parade for the victims of the London Tower Block fire, which police say may have killed up to 58 people. This year, in her birthday message, the Queen said it was difficult to escape a very sombre national mood after numerous terror attacks and the deadly fire. The Queen, who is 91, is the world's longest reigning monarch and actually has two birthdays: April 21st, the day she was born, and the day the military parade is held.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel has met with Pope Francis for a private audience. According to the German embassy, it's her fourth such meeting with the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. And it focused on the upcoming G20 summit to be held in Hamburg in July. Both leaders agreed on the need to dedicate special attention to the responsibility of the international community in combating poverty and hunger, the global threat of terrorism and climate change. The Pope also offered a personal tribute to the late Helmut Kohl for his tireless efforts in favour of the unification of Germany and the unity of Europe.
Germany and Austria have hit out at a new wave of sanctions announced by Washington against Russia. The criticisms came at the time of a conference in Berlin on gas cooperation between Russia and the EU, as Peter Oliver explains.
We cannot accept the US threat to impose sanctions that violate international law and affect European companies involved in the expansion of Europe's energy supply. Europe's energy supply is a matter for Europe and not the United States of America. It's up to us to decide who supplies us with energy and how, according to rules of openness and market competition.
We've certainly seen no mincing of their words from Sigmar Gabriel, the German foreign minister, and Christian Kern, the Chancellor of Austria. They've issued this joint statement saying that Europe should be and will be allowed to decide its own future, despite pressure that could be put on them from the United States following these sanctions. Now, I have to say, I was at a major gas conference here in Berlin on Thursday, and there were voices at that conference that were telling me that, yes, they expect that pressure will be placed upon European nations not to do gas deals with Russia. But however, if those European nations look at what's in their own national interest and in the wider European interest, they'll continue getting a lot of their gas from Russia.
Striking for farmers' rights in India is a matter of life and death. 5 farmers who tried to block roads as part of their protest last week were shot and killed by police. Farmers are protesting in Madhya Pradesh state again this week, blocking roads. They're asking the government for debt relief, minimum prices for their produce, and a change to the way the industry is administered. Instead of receiving help, the head of the farmers' union allied to the ruling BJP political party was arrested.
Our protest is peaceful. It seems that I am under arrest too. But I want to address the useless people who are sitting on the seats of power. The farmers continue to commit suicide, and my arrest won't stop them from killing themselves.
Suicide among farmers is a national scandal. 40,000 farmers have taken their own lives in the last 4 years. Many were in serious debt. Droughts in 2014 and 15 devastated yields, and farmers say food imports are undercutting the price of homegrown crops.
We have tried to communicate our problems to the government through our farmers' union, but they didn't pay any attention to us. The cost of vegetables fell so low that the farmers threw them on the roads in protest. The government should have intervened and should have helped us.
Kamala Amin Yaqub is one of many South Sudanese wandering around this market with an empty shopping basket. And it's not a lack of goods that's the problem, but rather skyrocketing prices.
The current prices are now very expensive, more than previous years. I came here with $45. As you can see, the bag is not full, and that is $45. And we are now entering into 6 months without receiving any salary.
Kamala earns £2,000 a month. Just last year, that was worth $65. But today, it's equal to only 15. Since December 2015, the South Sudanese pound has tumbled more than 600% against the dollar on the black market. The absence of foreign reserves has also pushed annual inflation to record levels, which hit a high of 830% late last year.
Now the prices have tripled.
not double, but tripled. Like oil was 700, 800, now 3,500 or more. Everything is increasing too much, not just a small amount. We're asking God to help.
There's not much left to hunt. This part of western Indonesia was once lush rainforest. Now it's been entirely replaced by ever-growing palm oil plantations. Members of the Orang Rimba tribe, which in Indonesian means jungle people, are one of the last nomadic tribes in the archipelago, and they are suffering.
It is rare to find wild boars now. It's not like it used to be when we still had our forest and we could hunt easily. Now we don't have much choice. If we don't find prey, we starve.
Not far away, members of the same tribe recently gave up their traditional ways. By converting to Islam and staying put, they are in line to be recognized by the government and in turn gain access to services such as healthcare and education. In Indonesia, belonging to a religion is a prerequisite in order to get an ID card. These children have been learning the Quran for just a few months under the guidance of an Islamic NGO. Indonesia is home to an estimated 70 million tribespeople out of a population of 255 million. But nomadic groups are becoming a rarity. Conversion to Islam is not uncommon in the world's biggest Muslim population. In recent decades, Indonesia has lost huge areas of rainforest to make way for mining and palm oil plantations, leaving tribes with less room to roam and little choice other than to convert.
Now, a group of outraged Catholics has staged a demonstration against a Muslim prayer gathering in the Spanish city of Granada. The controversial gathering took place on Saturday evening when dozens of Muslims prayed together by a Virgin Mary statue in the Gardens of Triumph before breaking their daily Ramadan fast. Here's how locals, though, reacted to the prayer.
We are here because we can't allow that to happen. They can't do it in Granada. They can do so in their place, but not in the Triunfo Gardens that has been ours for so long.
It was a lack of respect to Catholics. It was a provocation and down to the municipality of Granada.
Jerusalem's Damascus Gate is often the scene of violence. Simultaneous attacks on Friday saw a Palestinian stab a border police officer to death, while two others attacked a group of Israeli police officers with guns and knives, wounding one. Islamic State says it was behind the assault, the first time it's claimed an attack in Israeli-occupied territory. But Israeli authorities say they've found no evidence of a link. Hamas, the faction which rules the nearby Gaza Strip, also dismissing the claim, saying the attackers were affiliated with them.
In Mali, local officials say jihadists attacked a military base in the country's north on Saturday morning, killing 2 soldiers. One official told reporters that many others had been abducted and all the camp's military material had been ransacked. The attack was subsequently confirmed by an army source. Northern Mali has been beset by unrest in recent months, with 4 people having been killed in a jihadist assault on a United Nations peacekeepers base in Kidal earlier this month. That attack was claimed by a jihadist group with links to Al-Qaeda.
Australia has announced plans to introduce a 3-month national gun amnesty as concerns grow over crimes involving weapons. During next month's amnesty, Australians can hand in any illegal firearms without penalty. The Justice Minister said the new amnesty is needed to reduce national security threats, including jihadist extremism. Australia has been the target of 5 terrorist attacks since 2014.
The UN Refugee Agency says the Daesh terror group may be holding up to 150,000 civilians as human shields in the Iraqi city of Mosul. The agency also says Daesh terrorists have been capturing civilians in battles outside of Mosul, forcing them into the areas that are still under their control. According to the UN Refugee Agency, the civilians are being held in Mosul's Old City district, where they're facing a worsening situation of penury and panic. The statement also says Daesh snipers kill anyone who tries to leave the area. The northern Iraqi city of Mosul has been the scene of fighting for 8 months now, with the Iraqi army trying to recapture it from the terror group. Most parts of Mosul have already been liberated. The fighting has displaced hundreds of thousands of people.
The Syrian army said it would suspend combat operations in the southern city of Daraa for 48 hours beginning Saturday, as mediators announced 2 separate attempts to convene new peace talks early next month. The Syrian Army General Command said a ceasefire at 12 noon on Saturday was being implemented to support reconciliation efforts. According to state news agency SANA, the local ceasefire announcement came on the same day as the United Nations said it wanted to start a fresh round of peace talks between Syrian factions on July 10th in Geneva. And Moscow said it hoped to hold talks in Kazakhstan's capital Astana on July 4th.
And the South Korean military says it has completed its development of a medium-range surface-to-air missile, a key element of the country's air missile defense. A military official said a prototype shot down all 5 incoming missiles in midair and passed all requirements in a recent test. With development starting in 2006, the missile is expected to be fully deployed by 2019. It's expected to better respond to North Korea's ballistic missile threats when used in conjunction with the THAAD missile defense system.
We begin this morning with a collision at sea. Overnight, the U.S. Navy says 7 sailors from the USS Fitzgerald are still missing after it collided with a container ship off the coast of Japan. The Navy destroyer was damaged and took on water, but managed to make it back to port this morning. There were no reported injuries on the container ship, which sustained minor damage.
The collision happened about 56 nautical miles southwest of Yokosuka, Japan, home of the U.S. 7th Fleet. Ben Tracy is following the story from Beijing. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. It is not yet known whether some of these missing sailors were thrown overboard or if they may be trapped in some of the damaged compartments of this ship. Now, this is the USS Fitzgerald heading back to shore after it collided with a much larger container ship that was based out of the Philippines. There appears to be significant damage to at least one side of this guided missile destroyer. The Navy says there was flooding in some compartments, but that it was not at the risk of sinking. Now, 3 members of the U.S. Navy were injured and had to be medically evacuated off the ship, and that includes the commanding officer, Bryce Benson. He's a native of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and has been on board the USS Fitzgerald for nearly 2 years. He is said to be in stable condition. Now, in total, there were 300 crew members on board. We're told that one of them was actually able to FaceTime with his grandmother in Alabama after the collision to let her know that he's okay.
US President Donald Trump has confirmed that he is under investigation as part of an inquiry into alleged Russian interference in last year's election. In a tweet, he also appeared to accuse Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein of a witch hunt. "I'm being investigated for firing the FBI director by the man who told me to fire the FBI director. Witch hunt," he tweeted. Rosenstein wrote a memo to the White House which was used to justify the firing of the ex-FBI chief. The president has repeatedly complained about the inquiry, which has cast a shadow over his first 5 months in office.
Media personality Alex Jones is taking on Megyn Kelly of NBC in what is serving as a preview of their controversial interview this weekend. It turns out before Kelly recorded that interview, Jones recorded Kelly. Fox News media analyst and host of Fox's Media Buzz, Howard Kurtz, has the story.
Escalating battle over Megyn Kelly's NBC interview with radio host Alex Jones has taken a bizarre turn, with Jones releasing phone calls of Kelly's attempts to book him.
All I can do is give you my word and tell you, if there's one thing about me, I do what I say I'm going to do, and I don't double cross. It's not going to be some gotcha hit piece, I promise you that.
I knew it was a fraud. I knew it was a lie. God, she was like, I want to get steaks with you. I'm obsessed with you.
NBC will still air the interview on Kelly's Sunday night show, saying despite Alex Jones's efforts to distract from and ultimately prevent the airing of our report, we remain committed to giving viewers context and insight into a controversial and polarizing figure. The confrontation had already turned radioactive because Jones, who interviewed President Trump during the campaign, has pushed several conspiracy theories, calling 9/11 an inside job and saying a Washington pizzeria ran a child sex ring for which he apologized. Jones has also called the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School a hoax perpetrated by actors, and Kelly pressed him on that.
Sandy Hook.
Well, Sandy Hook's complex because I've had debates where we've devil's advocates said the whole story's true, and then I've had debates where I've said that none of it's true.
When you say parents faked their children's death, people get very angry.
Yeah, but it's the victims' families who are angry with Kelly for giving Jones a platform. The family of Victoria Soto. This incessant need for ratings at the cost of the emotional well-being of our family is disgusting and disappointing. Some Sandy Hook parents are threatening to sue NBC. Kelly says that she's revolted by Jones's outrageous conspiracy theories, but wanted to find out why the president and an audience of millions respect him. And here's what she told Jones.
I would say that I'm a combination of Mike Wallace, Oprah Winfrey, and Larry the Cable Guy.
Elon Musk has the bold ambition of sending men and women on a one-way trip to Mars. The ultimate goal, to become a multi-planetary species. But he's not the only person with a red planet on his radar. President Trump said he's eager to see Americans walk on Mars not only one day, but one day in the next 3 to 7 years. So does that mean Musk can expect NASA or U.S. government funding? Hard to know at this time, but SpaceX is already on its way to building a profit engine on its own. SpaceX managed to cut satellite launch costs drastically. SpaceX rockets take off, deposit a payload into space, and then land back on Earth to be reused. After years of trying, it was successful in making deals with the U.S. military. In early May, SpaceX launched its first classified satellite into orbit for the military. The payload was the first to break a 10-year monopoly held by United Launch Alliance. This summer, Musk plans to launch the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket. Falcon Heavy is a much more powerful launch vehicle capable of carrying huge payloads beyond Earth's orbit and into interplanetary space. Its customers include the U.S. Air Force, as well as satellite communication companies Intelsat and Arabsat. The role of SpaceX in the communication business will have it launching 4,500 satellites, providing high-speed internet to Earth beginning in 2019. It has a backlog of more than 70 missions worth about $10 billion. By adding all that together, SpaceX could position itself as the partner NASA needs if it wants to go to Mars, putting Musk and SpaceX in the driver's seat.